بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. That's cool. طيب. So tonight, inshallah, we're going to start with bab ma yufsidu as-sawm, the things that break the fast. The things that break the fast. طيب. There's some issues in this chapter that as in other chapters, possibly needs the consent or the confirmation from a doctor's standpoint. طيب. Is the body affected like that or not? You understand what I'm saying? Does that affect the body or not, or something like that? And when we get to it, you got to understand that these books are written, and they were written on a specific time, and this is what they knew at the time, and this is what they understood. To try to make a person's train of thought or their mindset fit in our time is not fair. So when we come to those issues, it'll be probably clear. طيب. قال رحمه الله باب ما يفسد الصوم ومن أكل أو شرب أو استعطى أو أوصل إلى جوفه شيئا من أي موضع كان أو استقاء أو استمنى أو قبل أو لمس فأمنى أو أمذى أو كرر النظر حتى أنزل إلى آخره. He mentions all of the things that break the fast, and we got to go through them one by one. Whoever eats or drinks something, right? At the end, he's going to give the ruling on it. Now, let's listen to the ending just to make sure everything's clear. If a person does these things, they do it intentionally, and they do it. They're not doing it forgetfully. Okay, a person intentionally eats or drinks. A person intentionally eats or drinks. They know that they're fasting, and they go and they eat and drink intentionally. طيب. So that's the first one. من أكل أو شرب. طيب. أو استعطى. This means to a surud is to put something in the nose. What goes in the nose that would possibly break the fast? Or why would somebody put something in their nose anyway? Allergy medicine. COVID test. Oh.
That's not like something that goes to the nose and goes to the body. Right?
Yes. Let's say it goes in and it enters. I don't really know what I haven't had the COVID test, so I don't know what they go in here. They go all in. Oh yeah. This is worth mentioning now. The issue that the ulama differ on is, according to the author, there's two things. Either A, what does it mean when something enters the body? That's an issue. That's a discussion amongst the scholars. Some of the scholars, as the author, Ibn Qudam rahimahullah, anything that goes in the body, anything that goes down the throat, it goes in your stomach, or if it reaches up to, as they say, the brain, it's possible stuff can reach up to the brain. It can go in the nose and go to the brain, right? If it does one of those three things, that's the inside of the body. Clear? And that's the position of the author. So when he's talking about these things, inshallah, it'll be a little clear. Some say no. Some scholars say no. We're not dealing with those that, but just so it's clear. Some say no. If it's not food or drink and it doesn't replace food or drink, then there's no problem. If it's not food or drink and it doesn't replace food or drink, what replaces food or drink sometimes?
Yeah, let's say supplement.
Nah, that's you would eat it.
You need first what?
Methylene, IV, right? It's possible somebody takes something, right, and this replaces a feeding tube or something like that, right? That's a difference. If it's not, that's replacing food or drink. As long as it's not any of those things and it enters the body, is no problem with one group. Another group says not anything entering the body breaks the fast, and that's what the position of the author is, which shows we're not discussing what's the strongest opinion. Are we discussing this? Which shows the importance put on during Ramadan, protecting and guarding the fast. Some ulama consider, and that's why you hear people say you shouldn't burn incense because the smoke goes inside the body. You understand what I'm saying? Based on, if we could say that logic or that position, you don't burn incense. Everything to stay away. You don't want nothing to go in there unnecessarily. And he's going to get to the exceptions. Tell you, woman ekala or shariba, first one, or the person whoever puts something in their nose intentionally, whether it's medicine or whatever the case may be. Yes. Whatever goes in the body. Ibn Qudam rahimahullah. Tayyib. And now he goes to the third one. It says, whatever goes into the body, enters the body from wherever it enters by. Whatever means it enters the body. So the usual means of something entering the body is what? Through the mouth, right? Generally, as far as eating and drinking. But it's possible things can enter through the body through other areas. So yeah, what he's saying is, as it's possible for something to enter the body through the eye, right? Right. It's possible that medicine, different things can go into the eye drops, whatever the case may be. Anything entering the body, right? As he says, from anywhere, not just the mouth and the nose, not just the mouth, anywhere it goes in, right? Then that will break the fast. Clear? Everybody clear? So if you will pick one of the, I'm not saying correct wise, the more I'll use this word, the more cautious position would be this one. That nothing goes in the body like intentionally. You gotta take eye drops, you gotta take air, wait till you break your fast to do all of that. Right? That according to this position. The other position is that what? Eye drops don't replace food or drink, so that's no problem. You understand? Ear drops is, yeah, it gets in the body, it goes into the head, and may reach it, okay, but it doesn't replace food or drink, so it's no problem, right? With the group of scholars, but no, in this position, anything. So therefore, he says from anywhere that it may enter. Oh, it's taqat. A person intentionally makes themselves vomit, right? A person makes themselves throw up. Not that you were walking down the street driving and you smell something and it turns your stomach because you're fasting. Not that, but a person intentionally makes himself vomit, huh? You could leave it at 4. They use ekala shariba as one. If you want to break them down, no problem. If you want to break them down and do them individually, that's no problem either. Up until now, all right, let's say it like this. This is how it's categorized. What you have at 4, Shay? All right, what you have at what's number 1?
Whoever eats or drinks something.
Okay, number 2.
Sniffing something in the nose.
Number 3.
Whatever goes into the body from anywhere.
From any entrance. Tell you. Some have categorized those as 1. Why? Because all of them have to do with putting something in the body. And then number 2 is taqa'a, has to do with somebody intentionally pulling something out of the body, throwing up. You with me? So some have categorized those, which you might have as 1, 2, and 3. Some have them as 1. And then number 2 would be somebody intentionally makes themselves throw up based on a hadith. Yeah, based on a hadith that whoever intentionally makes himself throw up then. Yeah. Tayyib, you with me? Number 3, istamna. Istamna is not just istamna. To masturbate and ejaculate. Masturbation and ejaculate. Male or female? What if a person masturbates but they don't ejaculate? It doesn't break the fast, but it's still haram. Still sinful, right? Still sinful, right? But what breaks the fast? The fact that a person, and this is categorized that a person, what they did the action themselves, right?
When you say ejaculation, is it anything secreting or is it with force?
Well, what is ejaculation? Like,
I never heard force before.
with force. So what do you mean by anything secretion? What does that mean? Oh, well, that's pre-ejaculation, right? Huh? We don't get to that,
That's what he's saying.
right? A person who masturbates and they ejaculate, then that breaks the fast. So that's number what, Sheikh? You got it as 5, but it could be 3. Jay, that's cool. If 5, but it could be 3. As long as you know those first 3 generally are connected because they have a person's putting something into the body. He says, أو قبل أو لمس فأمنى أو أمذى. That a person, this is number 4, a person either A, they kiss until either A, it's pre-ejaculation, or they ejaculate, or they're touching until they either pre-ejaculate or ejaculate. Kissing or touching, foreplay, playing around, fondling, whatever word you use, or kissing until a person either A, has secretion, pre-ejaculation, or B, they actually ejaculate. Both of them will break the fast. Clear? طيب. أو كرر النظر حتى أنزل. Or that a person constantly looks at something over and over and over until they ejaculate. طيب. A person constantly is looking at something. A person, it could be a man looking at his wife. It's the day of Ramadan, he's fasting, he keeps looking at her until he ejaculates. This is the next one. So basically, kissing and touching was one by itself. They go together. Then the one after that, the person karrar another. A person keeps looking at, a woman keeps looking at her husband, or a man keeps looking at his wife, or whatever the person's looking at, until it calls them to ejaculate. That breaks the fast. Some say no. Why? Because the person didn't do any action. Some compare that to the tafkir. A person's thinking about something, they ejaculate. And some say no, as the author says, the person keeps looking at something that causes them to ejaculate, they say that breaks the fast. Which shows at the least, it shows that you got to be careful while fasting. This is all part of guarding the fast, right? Guarding the fast is not just, for example, guarding the fast is not just not cursing somebody out because I'm fasting. I'm gonna wait to the, you know what I'm saying? Not just cursing. There's a bunch of things that could break the fast that is safer to stay away from. Is it a gray area? Well, some say it's no. Yeah, some do. But it's not like it's no dalil attached to it. It's a hadith and everything is attached to it. So to stay out of the gray area, it's safer out of caution. Jay, that's coming. That's coming, inshallah. طيب. It says, oh, hajama, oh, ihtajama, that a person gets cupped while they're fasting. Everybody know what cupping is? A person gets cupped, the hijama. That the person who gets cupped, it breaks their fast, and the person who does the cupping, it breaks their fast. So yeah. Now, this is important. This is another issue because what the ulama compare this to is, who doesn't know what cupping is, number one? Everybody's clear? What comes out when people get cupped? Blood. So now other ulama compare that to getting blood drawn during the day of Ramadan. The removal of blood from the body during the day of Ramadan. Let me say this firstly. One, he said what? The person who cups the person who does the cupping and the person who's laying down getting cupped. Okay? There's somebody doing it and somebody's getting it done to them. They say break both of their fasts based on what? Based on the hadith of the Prophet. Some scholars argue if that hadith is authentic. To some scholars, that hadith is not authentic. Therefore, if you get cupped in the daytime, what? There's no problem to them. To those who work by the hadith, see the hadith to be authentic, then you can't get cupped, and you can't do any cupping during the day during Ramadan. If I don't see the hadith to be authentic, then drawing blood in the daytime is what? There's no problem. If I do see the hadith to be authentic, then drawing blood in the daytime could be a problem. If they make that qiyas on hijama, is it only for hijama cupping or is it removal of all blood? Discussion. Safest thing to do is what? Not to avoid it. That's just safe, so you don't put yourself in the gray area.
So, in the case of cupping, so you're saying the person who does the cupping is also broken. Is that specifically in the case of cupping the person who's fasting, or cupping anyone? Period. That's a good question.
Well, if the person, say for example, the hadith says afqar al-hajim wal-mahjum. The fast is broken for the person who did the cupping and for the person who gets cupped. Right? So now, if you're doing a cupping, it doesn't stipulate that I have to be cupping somebody that's fasting. The hajim is the person who's doing the cupping. Who are you cupping? It's not really detailed like that. Allahu a'lam. If they're fasting anyway, they might not be cupping. Now he says here, that there are 11 narrators to this hadith from the Sahaba. قال أحمد حديث ثوبان وشداد صحيحان. And that's mentioned because there is some discussion around if that hadith is authentic or not. So again, some people might say no problem in the daytime, and some people might say it is a problem. When you have those issues, like Shaykh Abdul Majid used to tell us all the time, that ihtiyat, caution is better when it comes to ibadah. Why put yourself in the gray area of does that break my fast or not? And there's no real need like that to get cupped on the day of Ramadan.
I was referring more to like people like maybe like a nurse or somebody that, like, not necessarily cups but draw blood. Somebody like that, where that's their job, they draw blood. So that's why I asked, specifically for them drawing blood from a fasting person or
Allah Ta'ala A'lam. Allahu A'lam. Whoever that is, they need to, number one, we need to make sure, number one, it's definitely mentioned about drawing blood, about getting blood drawn, right? Is it mentioned that drawing blood is the same as hijama? The hadith says al-hajim wal-mahjum, right? So now the question is, okay, can we say that the person who draws blood takes the same ruling as the person making hijama? That's number one before we go any further. You with me? I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's a discussion firstly before you tell people, and I'm not saying you. Before we tell phlebotomists they can't work on Ramadan, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's a discussion first, if we can even make that qiyas and make that comparison firstly. If that's the case, then that's a different situation.
Like, you don't know the reason why. Nothing breaks the.
Wallahi, that's the hadith. It's not the reason is not mentioned in the hadith. Ta'abbudi. Yes.
Which scholars made that comparison? Because drawing blood and taking hijama have two different purposes.
What's the purpose?
Because doctors drawing your blood to test you and see what's wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
People get hijama. Some people get it because it's a sunnah to get hijama. Some people get hijama because they have high blood pressure or to remove a sickness.
Jade. Everybody get that? No, they said no. It says drawing blood has, for example, there are reasons people draw blood, but the doctors want to test the blood, make sure everything is fine. Hijama is to remove the bad blood. If there's bad blood. If there's bad blood, right? If there's bad blood, to remove bad blood, if there's bad blood. Tell you, can you make the same comparison between the two and say that a person who gets the hijama done, which is to remove bad blood, and the person who's getting blood taken for testing purposes, is that the same? That's the question. Now the question is, well, number one, you got to go all the way back to the beginning. What was the purpose of moving the hijama? Or what is the purpose of hijama and removing the blood? Is the issue, which is not mentioned, is the issue the fact that blood is being taken out by itself? Is that an issue? Everybody with me? Is the issue is removing blood during the day of Ramadan? If that's the issue, that's one thing. Because if that's the issue, it covers everybody who removes blood during the day. We're not looking at why they removing it. Are we looking at why they removed the blood during the day? Or is the fact that blood is being removed during the day? You with me? Allahu Alam, I'm not sure how far the discussion goes with that in that case. Yes.
Or I was thinking, or maybe it's just the fact that it's hijama in some.
It could be. All that's a discussion. It could be the fact that it's hijama, as the hadith says. And it could be kept specifically whoever does the hijama. It could be.
I just wanted to point out, I mean, I never had hijama done before, but I had blood drawn.
Mm.
You know, those are times where the doctor said fast before you do blood drawn. I noticed I'm weak, lightheaded, feel like I might be able to pass out. Although that might be the wisdom behind not having hijama done because bad enough you're fasting.
Right. And the removal of the blood. Makes you weaker. Now they could use that. Is it now? This is the thing. We're gonna stop here, y'all. This is the thing. It could be that could be the hikmah, the wisdom behind it. That could be the wisdom and the reasoning behind it, but that doesn't mean necessarily there's a hadith or a text that says that. So when scholars explain the hadith, they might say because of the hadith, the clearness of the hadith says that, and on top of that, it makes the fasting person weak. It's gonna be making it. They might use that as another piece of wisdom on top of it. Wallahu a'lam. Tayyib. How many was that? Tayyib. He says after that, whoever does those things, amidan, intentionally, dhakiran li sawmihi, remembering, knowing that they're fasting, right? Whoever does it what? Intentionally, knowing that they're fasting, fasted as sawmuhu, then their fast is broken. Their fast is no good. They do it what? Intentionally. So what if a person does it, one of those things, unintentionally? Then it doesn't break the fast. Amidan dhakiran. They do it intentionally, knowing that they're fasting, right? Meaning, knowing that they're fasting, meaning they didn't forget that they were fasting, right? And that's the next point. He says, "Wa in fa'alahu nasiyan aw mukrahan lam yafsud." If a person did one of those things out of forgetfulness, they forgot they were fasting and they ate something, it doesn't break the fast, right? Or a person was forced to eat. A person is force fed, right? A person is forced to do one of those things, then it doesn't break the fast. Is it possible a person is force fed? It's possible, right? We're not saying that's like a best case everyday situation, but it's people in different situations, in different parts of the world that are Muslims, that if that were to happen, then it's not going to break the fast. Yes.
I'm about to bring something up we already discussed about that. A point that I was getting. Those are how many points did the Sheikh bring that breaks the fast?
7.
Does he mention anything about the intention?
No. Well, yeah, he mentioned intention. He said amidan, intentionally.
No, saying like intention. Like,
I guess you're talking about before the fact, how you had to make the intention of fast.
no, because a while back, he was telling me.
Oh, he didn't mention it in this book. No, it's not mentioned in this book. This book, he didn't mention that. I think that's in was it mentioned in there? One of the benefits of going through different books is little benefits like that. He didn't mention it, but other scholars that hold the same opinions that he hold mentioned it in their books. Why he didn't mention it? Allah. Mention the fact that the one thing that's not mentioned is the fact that if a person makes the intention to break the fast, even though they didn't eat, right? A person doesn't eat, they didn't do any of these 7, but their intention, Methalan, for example, they say, you know what? It's gone too long. Allah protect us. It's a major sin to break the fast without having a valid excuse. The excuses we discussed before. A person says, when I go up here, I'm getting a steak. It's on 16 hours, I'm getting a steak, man. I'm going up here to get a steak. I'm going there to get a steak. The intention is to do what? Break the fast. It's broken with the intention to break the fast. They didn't eat. They made the niyyah to break the fast. The intention is broken. The fast is broken, I'm sorry. They get there and the store closed. What? It's broken. The fast is broken. The fast is broken before they even got there. right? They get there, it's closed. Well, I'm done, right? Even with the intention to break the fast, breaks the fast, even though he didn't mention it in this book. طيب. So he says those things, if they're done forgetfully, it doesn't break the fast. If a person is forced to do those 7 things, it doesn't break the fast. طيب. طيب.
That would fall under, person thinks about form of sin, but then he pops out, and that counts as a good deed. I'm saying you decide that you're gonna do it.
Like the mom made it.
Yeah.
طيب. It's coming. Remember that the niyyah is not just for half the day. The niyyah to fast for the day of Ramadan is the niyyah to fast the day of Ramadan, the entire day. Is worship, and the niyyah has to be valid, has to be right. The intention to worship, the intention to fast the entire day, not the intention to fast till 12 o'clock, right? From sun up to sundown. So yeah, now he brings examples of or some different situations when the fast is not broken. These things don't break the fast. He says, وَإِنْ طَارَ إِلَى حَلْقِهِ ذُبَابٌ أَوْ غُبَارٌ. Let's see something. The explanation on this book, the author died, rahimahullah, 624 Hijri. 624 years after the Hijrah, he died, rahimahullah. This is 1442, right? He died in 624. This is 1442, the shadow. طيب. He says, if a fly flies down your throat while you're fasting, did something enter the body? You see that literally something entered the body and it went down the throat. Literally something entered the body and went down the throat. Or, for example, we don't really have them. It's dusty, a dust storm. Right? Dust gets in the. Anybody ever been in the dust storm? Yeah. No. You been in the dust storm? Possibly. Right?
When you go in the house and you just got
It's in your sand in your teeth and stuff, right? It be coming out your nose and stuff like that. These things don't break the fast, though. Like, they don't break the fast. But the point is, a fly flying to your mouth. You're talking about this 800 years ago. It's possible that happens. And the literal, he's mentioning it because beginning, he said, what? Anything that enters the body from whatever way it enters. If that happens and the fly flies in the mouth, that doesn't break the fast. The person has no control of that. Yeah, he had no control of that. He has no control of dust. Right? You riding down the street and you see somebody say, son, where they going?
The fly does break the fast.
No, it doesn't break the fast. Right. Neither one of this section are the things that don't break the fast.
I'm running through the park to get a little snack.
Right.
You get in my mouth, dust, where up the hill.
It's just worth mentioning 800 years ago that an issue that's still relevant today is still relevant. Many things are. طيب. He says, or dust. Or a person's making wudu. They doing what? Put the water in their mouth. They're not trying to swallow it. They're making wudu, but some water goes down. Right? That doesn't break the fast. Or a person sniffs the water in their nose and what? It goes too far, it goes down. That doesn't break the fast. A person not doing it intentionally, right? But it happens. It's possible it happens, but it doesn't break the fast. Clear? طيب. He says, أو فكر فأنزل. This is عمدة الفقه. عمدة الفقه by Ibn Qudam al-Maqdisi. Rahimahullah. عمدة الفقه by Ibn Qudam al-Maqdisi. He says, فكر فأنزل. A man is sitting thinking about his wife. He's thinking about his wife. She's thinking about her husband until they ejaculate. They're thinking, no touching. There's a difference between touching and fondling until you break the fast, or kissing until you break the fast, and a person sitting thinking and breaking the fast. They say the one that is a little more severe breaks the fast if there's actual touching involved. That a person did the action and they went and they did something that led to them ejaculating and breaking the fast. Here, a person thinks and they end up ejaculating that doesn't break the fast. That doesn't break the fast. Yes.
He thinks about what is it he thinks?
He's thinking about his wife, whatever. She's beautiful. MashaAllah. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, whatever. MashaAllah. Or the woman's thinking about her husband. She's thinking about her husband. Or a man is not married. A man or woman is not married. And the shaitan comes and plays with them. They're thinking about a woman. Or she's thinking about a man. The fact that it's a thought and there's no touching involved, even if they were to ejaculate, it wouldn't break the fast. Clear the difference? The difference is one is touching, and the person, that means the people, whoever they are, they're actively doing something and touching, which leads to the breaking of the fast. Therefore, it's broken. In the other situation, a person's not, it's possibly uncontrollable, right? If a person's married, they think about their wife, they think about their spouse until they ejaculate, it wouldn't break the fast. أو قطر في إحليله. It says, or an issue like this would need confirmation from a doctor. He says that a person, let's just say it's medicine, and this is for a man. A man takes medicine through the penis, right? Whatever the medicine may be, drop, whatever. As they say here, they use, let's say droplets, whatever the case may be, right? I'll ask you, if it goes in through the penis, according to their logic, according to anything that enters the body from anywhere, then it does what? Breaks the fast. Sah wala la? No? Oh, no. Oh, I thought you said no. Tahib. They say that if it goes through the penis, it doesn't enter into the jawf. It doesn't enter into the inside. It doesn't enter into where? It doesn't enter into the throat. It doesn't enter into, and it doesn't enter into, where does it go? They say it goes to the testicles. And they make a distinction, that specific of a distinction, to say if it breaks the fast or not. Agree with them or not agree with them? It's not is that the case, and is that where it goes? I'm not a doctor, I couldn't tell you that. But based on, right, what they knew at that time, this is the issue that is mentioned. Everybody clear? He says, لا يصل إلى الجوف ولا منفذ بينهما. It doesn't reach the jawf, and the jawf is the, for lack of better translation, I guess the stomach is a little more closer maybe, but that's not even, it's a whole, and this is a whole discussion, y'all. What is the inside? That's a whole discussion. Like whole research papers are written on what is considered the inside that goes inside. Point being here, they consider that not to go, it doesn't reach the area that will break the fast. A person may have to go to the doctor during the day of Ramadan, and they say we can't put nothing in our body, and they come to something like this. In this case, it would be no problem. Tayyib. It says, oh, ihtalama, or a person has a wet dream, nocturnal emission, right? They take a nap, they wake up, and it might be a child. Well, they weren't fasting anyway. So let's say they were fasting. None of these things break the fast right now. Maybe they're fasting, but they haven't reached the age of puberty yet. That's my point. The nocturnal emission is the reaching puberty.
Oh, you're saying like in that moment?
Yeah.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying? They haven't reached the age of puberty. They lay down and take a nap after the Dhuhr, and they fasting on the day of Ramadan. Right? They fasting today.
How?
He's 12. He can't fast.
You said they weren't fasting.
I didn't say that.
How were they fasting?
Like, sit down, I'll be safe, inshallah. They're fasting. It's a 12-year-old fast and hasn't reached the age of puberty. 12 years old. Tell you, 12-year-olds can fast, can't they?
Okay. I'm thinking it's obligatory.
I'm not saying it's obligatory. All I'm saying is a 12-year-old fasting. Tell you, or a grown man or a grown woman, they lay down, take a nap on the day of Ramadan, and in the middle of the day, they have a wet dream, right? That doesn't break the fast. The person has no control over that, right? There's no control over that. They haven't done anything to lead up to, you understand? Tell you. He says, or that a person smells something, they riding down the street, you get stuck behind a garbage truck, for example. You know, you get on a small block and you smell something and it causes you to throw up, you vomit. Or you smell some type of spice, you go in the house, you smell a type of spice, they throw you off and you throw up. What's the difference between this person and the first person? What you mean intention? You didn't force yourself. The first person intentionally forced themselves to throw up, right? The second person had no control of it. They smell something, and sometimes, you know, everybody's different, but the body's different. You might smell something, you know, feel like I'm about to Earl, right? It's possible. If that happens and they do throw up, then that wouldn't break the fast as it is out of their control. He says all of those things, lam yafsud sawmuhu, will not break the fast.
How do you within the
What you mean?
Swallow.
Swallow what?
Yeah.
What you mean?
It comes up to the esophagus right here, and you go.
Yeah, like, yeah, throw it in your mouth.
Like,
You never throw it in your mouth?
what happens if
You swallow it?
Burp.
Oh, you burp?
And you come up with all you just, you know,
Jade. You tell me. What should you do if that happens? You burp and something comes up? You should spit it out. Why? I think we spoke about that last week. Going back down and swallow. Number one, wherever it came from, the mouth is not its original place. This is how, right? The mouth is not its original place. It came from somewhere else. It's like mucus. You pull mucus from somewhere to the mouth, right? At that point, you should do what? You should spit it out. Why? Because you pulled it from somewhere that it wasn't. The saliva that's originally in your mouth is no problem. The problem is to pull something from outside of its original place into your mouth and then swallow it. Which one?
That's nasty.
I mean, it's nasty, though. But let's not the throw up. Let's just use the burp. Sometimes you burp. Let's say you fast and you burp. It's like one of them. Yeah. It comes up. One of you, no, because you know how you do when you. Never mind. You burp and it comes up. The safest thing to do, because it's going to be an issue. What's the issue? The issue is going to be this: anything that comes up to the mouth that's not from the mouth should not be swallowed. So the safest thing is to spit it out. Now, of course, some going to say, well, is that considered food, drink? The whole other discussion. You with me? That's not, so we're not going to get into that, but that's the argument you're going to have. The safest thing to do is to spit it out. Now, if you swallowed it unintentionally, alhamdulillah, it wasn't intentional. You with me?
Is someone who wasn't, because you know, like we go fast, is someone who didn't know, let's say someone didn't know that cupping broke your fast. Somebody didn't know that, let's say drawn blood, we knew it broke your fast.
Yeah.
And they were getting blood drawn during one Ramadan, and they didn't know. And let's say it was the year before, would they have to make that days up or make those days up once
Clear?
they find out?
Everybody clear on the question? Sis, is the question clear? Can y'all hear? Is the speaker on? Oh, y'all can hear the questioner. Can you hear me? Okay. Tayyib. The question is, Tayyib. The question is, what was the question? Got the question.
Let's say you didn't know cupping broke
Oh,
your fast.
you didn't know that something broke the fast, right? You didn't know that something broke your fast and you did it during the day of Ramadan. Then the next year that you find out that it didn't break the fast. Huh? What else? You found out that it breaks your fast. It's something that breaks your fast. What two excuses did they give for the things that don't break the fast? They said that a person does one of those 7 things and they do it what? Intentionally, and they do it what?
Knowing that they're fasting.
Knowing that they're fasting. They didn't say that they did it and they didn't know jahlan. They didn't give that excuse of being ignorant of what breaks the fast. You with me? So in that case, if a year went by and a person didn't know what broke the fast, I'll ask y'all, I won't even say it. The safest thing to do is do what? Make the days up. That's the safest thing to do. Do they have to? Allahu A'lam. Based on what I know, that the excuses of ignorance is not given for everything. The excuse of ignorance is not given for everything. So depending on what it is, I'll say depending on what it is, that would be, as I would say, that's a discussion, a research before you give I wouldn't give nobody a clear-cut answer on that. I did this last Ramadan. I know I have to check and see what section that falls into, if that's a valid excuse or not. Because the excuse of not knowing what breaks the fast doesn't necessarily apply for a person when they do. So that's nothing a person say, I ain't know we couldn't eat no Ramadan. The fast still broken. You understand? If you were eating during the day of Ramadan, the fast is broken. Whether you knew you couldn't eat or you didn't know you could eat. You with me? The fast is still broken. There are exceptions though, but it would depend. خلاص. طيب. He says the person who أكل يظنه ليلا فبان نهارا أفطر. This is important when it comes to breaking the fast. The person who ate, they started eating it and they thought it was nighttime. فبان نهارا أفطر. Right? They were eating and they thought it was nighttime. So, for example, a person's up eating sahur, right? Let's just use 5 o'clock so that is clear. The adhan for Fajr is at 5 o'clock, right? So a person is eating sahur. طيب. They ate until 5:02. They still were eating. But they really thought no games being played. They thought the adhan went off was at 5:02. So what did they do? They thought they ate past the time that they were supposed to be eating. When in reality, y'all, the adhan of Fajr is when we stop eating. The adhan of Fajr. The adhan of Fajr. Not when they say on TV. The adhan is, on the news, they say like a different time. The adhan of Fajr is when we stop eating. So let's just use time just to make it sure it's clear. The adhan of Fajr is at 5 o'clock. The person, they thought the adhan of Fajr was at 5:02 or 5:05, right? So what did they do? They kept eating and they thought that it was still, because it's still nighttime, y'all, until the adhan of Fajr. Everything up until the adhan of Fajr is still nighttime, right? So they ate until 5 and they said, I'm gonna stop at 5:04 just to be safe. Right? It says, فَبَانَ نَهَارًا أَفْطَرًا. Once they find out, they didn't do it like, once they find out that they ate past the time that their fast is broken for that day, they have to make that day up. Let's make sure that's clear first. The adhan is at 5 o'clock. The person is eating sahur, they're eating sahur, they're in the house, no pressure, no nothing. They think the adhan is at 5:04. They keep eating. Right? Pay attention, y'all. They stop eating at 5:04, which means they ate past what? That which means is they didn't fast the entire day. There's a portion of the day they didn't fast, no matter what you want to call it. If the adhan went off 4 minutes ago and you didn't fast for those 4 minutes, that means a portion of the day you didn't fast. Tayyib, pay attention. They did that. No one never told them what happened. No one never said anything about it. Alhamdulillah, they finished Ramadan. Alhamdulillah. They went about their life. No problem with this person. This person is fine. Their fast is fine. The mushkila, the problem is once they find out, it became clear that they ate past the time, and it becomes clear to them, the fast is broken. Clear? Bana, meaning once the person found out that they ate past the adhan, they have to make the day up. For example, what if I never found out that I was eating past the adhan? No, I have to make the days up. It's no problem because I never knew I ate past the adhan anyway. But once I find out that I ate past the adhan, then I know what? I'm sure I ate the adhan was, yeah, that means I broke my fast that day. Yes, that means you need to make that day up. Yes.
Now, when Ibn Qudama was alive, there were no phones, no Muslim Pro, or that pop up on your phone or anything. So during that time, like the masajid would call the adhan based off of the muaddin and how he looks outside the check.
Sahih.
So what in the case where, multiple muaddins call the time at different, some might call it a minute before the other one might call it 2 minutes before later than the other one. Like,
what's the question?
I mean, if you're in your house, you don't really say you don't live near a masjid.
Hold up, you're going down a deep hole, Sheikh. What's the question? You about to go somewhere else. The mu'adhin, you saying that there were no phones. And even here, y'all, even just because, especially sometimes brothers come, you in the masjid, the mu'adhin is there, all the phones are not accurate. I hope we know that. We could sit here right now for Isha and somebody's phone already went off, and then somebody's phone goes off 6 minutes later. If you're in the masjid, put all of that on the mu'adhin. That's the mu'adhin's job. Whoever's calling the adhan, is his job to have an accurate time for everybody to break their fast on. Why would you come all the way to the masjid to break your fast with the Muslims? And then as soon as your phone go off, mashallah, you got your phone is the phone. Brothers start grabbing dates, man, it's off. I ain't. And it's all these Muslims sitting here about to break fast together, but since your phone went off, you're going to break fast on the date. When it's safer to do what? If the mu'adhin was 2 minutes late calling the adhan, is that going to break our fast? No, but if you break fast early, that's going to break your fast, right? So even if we don't have phones, it's possible. Let's just say I'm in the house, I'm in a deep sleep. I didn't hear the adhan when it went off. I'm in Ibn Qudama's time. I'm with the Muslims. There are no phones. Yeah, it's multiple adhan going off. Most of the adhan is going to go off, if that happens, within a minute, right? Within a minute. So, method, just for the example, sake of the example. The first adhan went off at 5 o'clock. Then the second went off at 5:01. The second went off at 5:03, right? I woke up at 5:04. I don't hear anything. Did they call the adhan? I eat because I think it's nighttime, right? Is it nighttime? By none of the massages in my area, it's not nighttime, right? As long as I never found out that I ate before time, I'm fine. But if it becomes clear that I ate before the time, then I broke my fast because I did what in reality? In reality, I missed a part of the day. That's the bottom line. But it was only 1 minute. Yeah, but it counts. Ramadan is fasting from a specific time to a specific time. Fast Ramadan. Yes.
I have 2 questions. One was similar to Yasir's, but it was more so because Fajr is a window of time. The time of Fajr is a window when you call the adhan, right?
What you mean?
Salah has a window of time.
A window of time for the prayer, not for calling the adhan. The adhan is called, what is the adhan for? To let you know the salat time has started. Dukhul al-waqt. So just for time, just for the clarity purposes. The adhan is called at 5 o'clock. That means I can start praying my sunnahs for Fajr when the adhan is called at 5 o'clock. Even if the mu'adhin didn't call it. Say I'm sitting there and I'm just assuming, I'm looking at the sky. It's time to, all right. Usually the mu'adhin is on time. He's late today. Because he didn't call the adhan doesn't mean it's not time to stop eating. And vice versa for Maghrib. Because the mu'adhin, we break fast at 7:30 and the mu'adhin called it at 7:35, for example. It was time to break fast at 7:30. Even with that, it's safer to wait for the mu'adhin to call the adhan. Put that all on the mu'adhin. You understand?
The part that I'm not understanding is you said if you woke up past after all the massages called the adhan, you thought it was still nighttime.
Yes.
Then you ate.
Yes.
then you find out that it was nighttime. You have to make that fast up.
Yes.
But what about if you're fasting during the day and you forgot that you were fasting and you drank some water?
Mhm.
Why don't you have to make that fast? Clarify.
The hadith? Hold on, but you said, okay.
Because in both scenarios, there was a portion of it that didn't fast.
La, but the hadith says if you eat or drink something, then keep fasting.
So why doesn't it apply?
Why doesn't what apply?
Because I don't know
The hadith about eating and drinking?
Yeah.
If a person forgets and they eat and drink on the time of the salat, kind of call, and keep fasting. That Allah fed the person or gave the person water.
One of them that doesn't fall under. One of them is out of forgetfulness. The other one is out of not knowing.
The excuse of, and this is where it comes back to the excuse of not knowing something. Jahl is not knowing something an excuse to do something that breaks the fast? You didn't know that it was time to stop eating. Is that an excuse for you to keep eating? It's not an excuse for you to keep eating. If somebody clarifies to you that you ate past the time, if you never found out that you ate past the time, it wouldn't be an issue. You want to group the person who ate intentionally during the day of Ramadan, right, with the person who forgetfully ate during the day of Ramadan. That has a text. One has a text and one doesn't have a text to keep fasting.
It's a difference between ignorance and forgetfulness. That's the difference between the two situations.
One person forgot during the daytime, and the first person that we're talking about now, he didn't know or she didn't know it was time to stop. They didn't know. Is not knowing something the same as a person who forgets? No. They don't hold the same. So the fact that the person didn't know was I had to stop eating at 5 o'clock doesn't allow them to keep going and keep doing whatever they're doing from the things that break the fast. And then they can say, well, I ain't know I'm gonna keep fasting. Right? As long as it never became clear to them that they broke it, that they went over the time.
What if somebody holds the opinion that, they sit on their porch and look at the white thread?
The white thread.
The white thread,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's an argument every year.
Yeah.
What you mean?
Every
So like they look at that as opposed to listening to their own. Yeah.
Tell you, what's the question now?
Saying, somebody, they phone went on. Their phone
Okay.
went on. They're like, nah, I'm looking for that white thread.
Tell
They
you.
keep eating.
Mm.
So they see the white thread.
They know what they're looking for? I mean, listen, whoever does that, if they know what they're looking for and the phone is wrong, it's possible the phone is wrong, y'all. It's possible the phone is wrong. If a person know what they're looking for and the phone is wrong and they going on what they know, that's between them and Allah. That's going to be on them. I'm just saying, let's just say they was on the beach, wherever they at, and they know what they're doing. If they know what they're doing and that's what they're going to do, that's going to be on them.
So, I'm thinking about you finish this on your plate or you finish eating. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I was going to ask, how does that fall into if you take the position of stopping at that time?
See, this is the thing. Any exception to what we talking about has a text to give you the exception to do something. You with me? Why can you finish? Because you have a text to say you can finish. Why can you keep eating in the middle of the day if you accidentally picked up a water while you was talking to somebody and start drinking it? Because you have a text to give you the excuse to keep going. You with me? But the also is that what if you were to do that intentionally, knowing that you were fasting, it would break the fast. Hold on. Hold on. He says, because this is connected to it. He says, وَمَنْ أَكَلَ شَاكًا فِي طُلُوعِ الْفَجْرِ لَمْ يَفْسُدْ صَوْمُهُ. It's a difference in these two people. The first person we just spoke about, they ate suhoor and they believed what? They believed it was nighttime. They believed it was nighttime. And then it became clear that it wasn't nighttime. He says, وَمَنْ أَكَلَ شَاكًا فِي طُلُوعِ الْفَجْرِ لَمْ يَفْسُدْ صَوْمُهُ. The person who had doubt, they're not really sure if it was time for Fajr or not. They're not really sure, right? And they ate at 5:02, right? Lam yafsud sawmuhu. That the fast in this case is not broken. The person, one person for sure, the first person for sure, right? This person believes that it is time to break, that it's still nighttime. It's not the adhan. The adhan is not till 5:05, right? And he does what? He eats until 5:04 and then he stops. Then he finds out that he ate past the time. He has to make the day up. That's the one person we just spoke about. Tayyib. Remember, y'all, if he would have never or she would have never found out they were wrong, they wouldn't have to make the day up. Clear? طيب. He says, وَمَنْ أَكَلَ شَاكًا فِي طُلُوعِ الْفَجْرِ لَمْ يَفْسُدْ صَوْمُهُ. The person who had doubt, about is it time to stop eating or not, and then they ate past the time, he says that this would not break the fast. Why? لأن الأصل بقاء الليل. Because the asl is that it's still nighttime until you're sure that what? Until you're sure that it's daytime. You're sure that it's daytime, right? If you're not sure that it's daytime, then what is it? If you're not sure it's daytime, then that means it's still nighttime. Yes.
If it's made clear to that person that daytime, they have to make it up.
They make the fast. The only difference is some people, it's possible a person really believes that it's nighttime. Another person, I'm not really sure. Right? I'm not really sure if it's nighttime or not. Tayyib. The last person is طيب. What's the last person we said? The doubter. The person who doubted. It says here, when an أكل الشاك في غروب الشمس فعليه قضاء. يعني إذا دام الشك وهذا إجماع. Whoever eats doubting that the sun went down, right? فعليه قضاء. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on 1 minute. Okay, طيب. Okay. We got two people. We got three people. We have the first person that he thought no doubt it's nighttime still. We already dealt with him. He broke the fast, or she broke the fast. Then, right, they found out that they ate after the time was time to eat. They have to make it up. Now we have two people. These two people have doubt. One person doubts if it's Fajr yet, and the other person doubts if it's Maghrib yet. I'm not really sure if I can keep eating suhoor or if I have to stop eating suhoor. And on the other end, I'm not really sure if it's time to break fast at Maghrib or it's not time to break fast. Clear? Tayyib. They say the first person, which is the person at Fajr. The person at Fajr was not sure if it was time to break fast. Sorry. The first person at Salat al-Fajr, it was not sure if the adhan for Fajr went off, so we have to stop eating or not. Right? Which means that if I'm not sure, that means that it is still what time? It's still nighttime. And the origin of nighttime is that we can eat. Tayyib. The second person is the person at Maghrib. He's not sure if it's time to break fast or not. Right? We break fast, for example, 7:30. Right? The person's not really sure what time we break fast or not. If you're not sure what time we break fast, because when we break fast, that means it's what time now? It's nighttime when we break fast. So if you're not sure what time to break fast, that means the origin of that is still what? It's still daytime. Everybody see the two pictures? Let's start from the second one. You never break your fast, and you're not sure it's time to break fast. Never break fast, and you're not sure that it's time to break fast. Everybody clear? You break fast when what? When you sure, because somebody gonna say, what about the hadith? Don't delay breaking the fast, huh? Don't delay to break the fast. Don't delay breaking the fast when you sure it's time to break fast. So let's just say this, for example, because this happens to us. Let's just say the adhan for Maghrib is at 7:25. You in your car, you say, dang, man, I'm just being real. Dang, I remember I saw on the paper, we don't use papers no more. Yesterday was 7:24, so it's probably 7:25 today, right? That's how we do. Yesterday was 7:25, so what is the day? It's probably 7:26 today. If yesterday, right, we usually gauge and say it's 1 minute. Are you sure though? You're not sure. You on your way to the masjid, or you on your way to wherever you're gonna pray, Maghrib, whatever case you on the way, wherever you're gonna break your fast. You're not sure if it's time to break fast, even though yesterday was 7:24, and generally it goes up like 1 minute, but you're not sure. In that case, what should you do? You should wait. You only rush to break the fast when you're sure it's time to break fast. Clear? Like, go back to the person. Why is that though? The reasoning that they give is because the origin of that time is that it's daytime, and the also is that we're fasting. That's the origin. We're fasting. We don't break our fast until we know that it's time, it's nighttime, Maghrib, and we break the fast. Like, on the opposite side, at Salat al-Fajr, it's the same thing. The person is up and they're eating breakfast, eating suhoor. The origin is that they're eating suhoor at nighttime, right? Which is permissible to eat. During Ramadan, we eat at night. So yeah, they're not sure if the adhan is at 5 o'clock or is it at 5:05. So what do? They keep eating till 5:04. Clear? They keep eating till 5:04. What's the origin for that person? He still think it's night. Still, when we say think, they're not really sure. They had doubt. He had doubt about it. If he had doubt about it was time for the adhan, and that means it's still what? It's still nighttime until when? Until you're sure that it's daytime. They say the first person, for Fajr, lam yafsud sawmuhu, and the person at Maghrib, the first person, it doesn't break their fast, and the person at Maghrib, it does break their fast. Why? Cause he said cause. Is everybody clear on the picture?
Yeah.
In the morning, the person ate suhoor and they had doubt. Was it time to stop or not? They're not sure. So they just kept eating the 5:04. And then they stopped. Right? Originally, they can keep eating, can't they? Why? Because it's nighttime and you can eat at night. It's nighttime. We can eat at night. Then at 5 o'clock. What time is it then? I don't know. I think it's like 5:04, 5:03, something like that. So they go to 5:04. Right? The also is that it's nighttime and they can keep eating. It doesn't break their fast when they do that. The second person at Maghrib, the adhan is at 7:25. They're not sure though. I think it's 7:25 or 7:26. Is it 7:24? I'm not really sure. At Maghrib, which means they've been fasting all day, which means they're not allowed to eat until when? Nighttime, the adhan of Maghrib, when a person is sure. So if a person eats early and breaking the fast at night, Maghrib, they have to make the day up. They break the fast. But if a person does that in the morning for Fajr time, right? And this is the person that has doubt, not the person who believed it was really time. The person at Fajr does not have to make the fast up.
And the person
Further.
at Fajr is only until they find out that if they find out that they did eat early or they did eat late, they have to make the day up too.
Say it again.
If the person at Fajr, you said the also is because it was nighttime, the doubt doesn't basically remove that they think it's nighttime. So they don't have to make the day up. Correct? But if they find out that they were eating late into the day, they have to make the day up.
This I'm sorry, go ahead.
The person who ate late At Fajr.
At Fajr.
The also is
Why did they eat late?
because they were in doubt.
They were in doubt about what?
What time Fajr came in.
Which means that they kept eating because it was what? It was still nighttime. Tell you.
But once they find out, so like you said, say they go to things like it was 5 or whatever, and they go. If they find out that they ate 2 minutes, 3 minutes into the time of Fajr, they have to make that day up too, correct? I thought it was they didn't have to make it up. Because they found out. That's what I'm saying. Once they find out, because they're not in doubt anymore, and they know that they eat until the time they should be fasting. They would have to look at it as if they didn't know.
Found out.
Is that correct? That's what I'm waiting for a confirmation.
Does he have to make the day up if he ate after Fajr out of doubt? Meaning somebody else came and corrected him and said, listen, you ate past the time. You stopped at 5:04. You're supposed to stop at 5 o'clock. And this is the person with doubt. Allahu A'lam. Allahu A'lam. I would say yes. I mean, me personally, I would make the day up. Do they have to or not? Allahu A'lam. But you got to remind me. I got to relook at that. I have to relook at that one. It says when أكل الشاك في غروب الشمس فعليه قضاء. يعني إذا دام الشك هذا إجماع. Allah, you gotta remind me. I gotta look at that deeper. Doing something because it's safe is one thing. Do they have to? That's another. I'm not sure. I'm not really clear right now. Khalas. Either way, the asl is baqa, that the people are working with something. The one who ate in the morning, he has a reason. So it's not an issue of being a sin. The reason that they ate past 5 o'clock is because they weren't sure what time to stop. And they assumed that it was, maybe it's 5:03. So let's just say, I don't know if it was 5:03 or 5:04, but it's really 5. I'm not sure what time we got to stop. That person, and they go past time, do they have to make it up? Allah. It's safer to, but do you have to? Is a different conversation. Saajid, any questions?
Is that point? It's because you said with me, the person doesn't know.
Ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
It's doubt. Doubt and ignorance and forgetfulness is all different.
Doubt is very parallel to forgetful. Ignorance.
So it's not the same.
Not the same. It's not the same.
And all they say based off the principle, certainty is not ruled by doubt.
You saying doubt and what is the same? La. Doubt is not the same as ignorance.
No, it's similar.
Yeah, it's similar, but they're not going to take the same ruling. You understand what I'm saying? It's not going to you can't give them the same hukum just because one person is doubtful and one person doesn't know. It's not the same.
You're thinking to yourself, it's at 5.
Sisters, y'all cool? I thought somebody was selling Girl Scout cookies. All that. My list, I'm sorry. I thought y'all had. Hold on. Can y'all quiet down just a little bit, please?
It's at 5. If you're telling yourself, I'm not sure if it's 5:03 or 5:04.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't saying I'm not sure. It's saying I don't know.
No. Shak Islamically is that you're between two things. Two things are in your mind, either 5:03 or 5:04. Jahl is a different level of not knowing. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what time we got to stop. You understand what I'm saying? And therefore, they don't get the same. They don't get the same ruling. Khalas. Fadal.
Can you just elaborate on something that's in your hand? What is it about that? Right?
Honestly, I don't know. The hadith about eating. Maybe we need to do that next week. The hadith about eating. Because personally, honestly, I need the wording in front of me. I don't really know. I remember hearing it a while ago, people using it. You know, this is my thing. It's fasting, Ramadan. You got 29 to 30 days. You eating the square of a cheese, egg, and cheese sandwich, like the last square, is not going. You know what I'm saying? Either A, and if you want to do that based on the hadith, and that's what you want to do, I mean, if that's what you, if that's how the hadith is understood, and that's what you want to do, and that's what you're using as dalil, and that's what a person does, that's between them and their Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Doesn't the hadith specifically mention a vessel of water though?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I would need the wording of the text of the hadith, and I'm not sure what the text of the word of the hadith is. But I mean, if a person, like you said, they want to practice that sunnah.
What if they say, like, I don't want to be wasted? I got a quarter of the sandwich.
Hey, listen, that's on you. That's on you. That's on you. You could have wrapped it up and put it in the, you know what I'm saying? Gave it to one of the kids. See, I need the wording. I need the wording. They say if that's how people understand. A lot of people understand. They say if it's in your hand. They say if it's in your hand. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. So Allah, so brother, you know,